Hi everyone, here's Simone. Welcome to this new touch design tutorial. And yeah, today we will speak about nearest neighbor and why you should actually know how to calculate the distance between a point and another point. I make this, that is actually a graphical explanation of what we will do. So as you can see, we are a cone that is casting some ray, and those rays are casted only if the central point respects some rules. So calculating distance from the point where the cone is starting to the point of the sphere, and if the point is near, then I'm like sending those kind of ray and I'm affecting the distances in this case. Okay, little dive. We have a starting point, we have an end point, so in my case it's a sphere, but it can be a box as well, doesn't matter. Maybe it's also better to understand what is happening. So you see, if the point is near, then you can see it also here, or we can even go inside, I guess. Okay, so let's do it. So see, I'm like casting those kind of tubes if the point respects a certain rules. How to do it? So today we won't go so deep, and I guess we will not build a line because I don't feel comfortable to teach something that I'm not super expert. So we will do it in another tutorial. So today will be then a factor, like in Cinema 4D, that affect our instances, and we can understand how to build it. So we will need a starting point, we will need an end point, and then we will need to calculate the nearest point calculation. That, as you can see, it's made of 3 tops. Then we have to define some vector properties. That is again the direction. That is actually this one, but in a different way. And the size for those rays, but then it's up to you to build it. I'll give you some tips, but we won't do it. And then we will actually use the mask that is generated from the threshold. It is actually defining the rules of the nearest point to affect our distances and have fun by using an effector. Right, close this one, and kindly make a container, call it double N for nearest neighbor inside. To make it fancy, let's say we want to use we will use a component I made, or if you know to set up an unwrap render touch designer, this is what you have to do. So you go to the Olive, and I kindly ask to everyone that will watch this video to support it if you can somehow. There's some, you go in the home and then you can find a way to support it, I guess. There's a link. You go to the most downloaded, actually the first one is this one, something I made, and you download it. I have it here, so I take it from my drive, and I have this box. This component, you have to set it up actually, because I save it not with the proper number, so now it's centered in the middle and it's doing nothing because no data are passing, and we want to, I don't know, take a sphere, put it here. Okay. So now, from the first input of the unwrapper, we will have the point of the textured coordinate of the incoming SOP. So, okay. US points. See, you have a dense sphere middle point that is actually broken, as you see here. So if you want it proper, you have to do a nose, curve, triangles. let's say I want to recalculate the texture shop. Explosion. Source. Okay, so you need to have a perfect sphere. You need to recalculate actually for some strange reason the UV doesn't make a lot of difference, but as you can see now the texture is completed and you do it via texture shop, row and columns, and you recalculate the texture coordinate of the incoming geometrical data. Now we have a perfect sphere that is way too dense. We have a point disposed in a sphere. They are like the distance of each one is the same. Okay. Nice. So this is the point we want to affect. If they are near to another point that it's actually a single point, so we take a constant, make it 1 1, and because you want to have good float, make it 32 bit. Good. Okay, then we have 1 point that we want to put in the middle of the axis, so here 0 0 0. Pretty nice. So we have a starting point, because actually we want to visually cast this ray that are searching if a point, if this is near to this, so imagine that we are casting ray. We want then to do what? A subtraction, because to calculate the distance from a point to another you have to make point A minus point B. Okay, because this one will give some results that are negative, that are in this black area, that I don't want, because I just want an identifier of the distance, and then check this identifier. The identifier has to have no direction, so here we have minus things happening. I don't want that. I want to have the absolute value. Okay, so an identifier that has no sign. You can do it by, I don't know, faster way for me is this one, so you can just make a GLSL and delete the color, take the texture, so now the GLSL is reading, and then just ask for the absolute value of the sampler, and you have this. That is, as you see, something else is happening, but it's okay, because we want an identifier for the distance. Okay, that goes 0 1. So then we can take, and by making this actually you are also creating like the sphere around the point of the effector, A. Okay. Then we want to have the magical threshold, that in this case magical because it's doing all the work. So if the distance, the data that we are using as distance is less or equal a certain amount, then pass it. If it's less, cut it. This is the mask that is doing this calculation for us. Okay, so what you're gonna do? You need to actually use the mask, so you have to multiply, for example, my starting point with the mask, and then I have a kind of starting. Actually, we will always start for this one, but for instance, this manner is better to have it with the right resolution and with the proper calculation. So let's use a multiply, because if you multiply this, that has some value to 0 1, say, so this is 1, this is 0, it will delete the point that we don't want. Okay, let's do the same for a sphere. This one we want to change the other one. Okay, right. So yeah, now just by visualizing the point, we can figure it out that if it's working or not. So as you can see, yes, it's working, because if I then move our effector you can see I'm deleting only the points that are near to the pseudosphere I create. Okay. Nice. So we create a sort of affector, and we have a selection of points that are affected and some not. It's useful also to maybe take the opposite of this one for certain reason. So you have this area here only. Can be useful. Let's leave it here and let's build a render setup. I don't know, I want to visualize those points as a sphere, so I take a sphere. And let's make it just an orbs, and I want to put it in a geo that is capable of instances, and I want to instance the point I have by taking this null here. Null 2, that we call it, I don't know, boss. It's fine, and we take it here. R, G, and B. Okay, then, as you can see here, we have a pretty dense result. That is not what we want. I want to make the sphere smaller, but I will increase the in the unwrapper the uniform scale, because then you have more range to work with the threshold. It's better, in my opinion. So it doesn't really matter. Let's make it, I don't know, something like 5 or even bigger, like 10. I don't know. Okay, let's say 10, and then I want to also reduce a bit the sphere. Come on. Okay, and of course to see in top what we are doing, we need a render and a camera that is inside the geometry now. Bring it outside, and let's just do not go so crazy. Put an ambient light, everything goes white. Let's give a Fong as a material to our composition, and let's put a light that casts some ray that are not everywhere. This is actually, as you can see from the view, it's inside the viewport. You want to go something like that and decrease, so yeah, kind of 3D effect. Okay, so we have this dense sphere, and let's see if the things are working, because we increase the size, so maybe we want to also increase the threshold, and maybe making also the sphere bigger. Get a bit, yeah, even if they overlap, I like the effect. Okay, problem. We have a point in the middle that we don't want. How to solve it? We can solve it with the reorder, because we are using 3 parts of the vec4 we are passing to the instances, and by default it's a vec4, so we are missing one channel that we can use for the active parameter of the instances. You can access any point of a top. In this case they are vector in my case. I want to think it like this, so plug this in number 2, take the luminance is fine of input 2 as alpha. So now we can take the alpha in the active, and we have nothing in the middle. That is good, because we want to have nothing in the middle. Okay, let's take a geo. Okay, it's a beautiful torus. I don't know, make a box, make a box, where are you? Here we go, like that, and I don't know, make a box a bit bigger, like that, give the idea it is something, and rotate it as well, a bit, like so, kind of. And let's instance this box for just the point, because it should be our effector. So let's just do this R, G, and B. Okay. So now you can see that if we move the point, we are affecting the distances, and we have a kind of threshold based on the position of our effector, and yeah, you can use it to be creative. Hope you find this tutorial useful. In the next one we will use this setup to actually go forward and start to build all the tubes, and let's be more creative. For now, hope everything is clear. We have a point A, a point B. We are subtracting everything to generate the distance that has a direction that we don't want for now, and we can then make the absolute value of this incoming texture to create this sort of effector area. Okay, and then with the trash we can say, hey, are you near to this point or not? Is the distance bigger than a certain amount or not? If it is yes, then pass it through. If it's not, not. You can then change this one, and you see if you make the opposite, then it works the opposite. So you're actually creating the geometry only if it's near to a certain area. I guess it's cool. Have fun, please leave comment, and if you didn't already, subscribe to this beautiful channel.